Hello and thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Now let's take a look at the headlines. President Muhammad Buhari states administration's commitment to welfare of police personnel. Inspector General of Police orders nationwide deployment of anti-riot police units to protect Nigerians and critical infrastructures. Plus, ECOWAS election observation mission describes presidential election in Guinea as largely peaceful and transparent. Thank you so much for joining us. We begin with security matters. The Niger Police Force has been tasked to sustain efforts at fighting and addressing the emerging internal security challenges confronting the country for sustainable peace and security. President Muhammad Buhari threw the challenge while at the virtual inauguration of the new head office building of the Niger Police Pensions Limited. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has details.
Through physical discipline as well as encouraging patronage of local firms, the Nigeria Police Pensions Limited achieved this magnificent and befitting head office complex in line with its vision of being the benchmark in pension fund administration in the country. The edifice is the first to be purpose-built by any pension fund administrator in Nigeria and therefore a significant milestone for the nation's pension industry.
In order to fully accomplish the purpose of setting up the scheme, I urge the Nigerian Pension Commission, the police authorities, and Nigerian Police Force Pensions Limited to maintain their concerted efforts, especially towards achieving improved welfare for the police personnel. Let me commend the Nigerian Police Force for fighting and addressing the emerging internal security challenges.
President Buhari also applauded the Nigeria Police Pensions Limited for instituting a retirees resettlement support scheme towards providing desired assistance to retired police officers to enable them resettle fully in retirement after meritoriously serving the nation.
Taking your services to the doorstep of police officers by maintaining an office in each police command and formation is also very laudable. I urge you to continue your untiring efforts in collaborating with the police authorities towards improving the welfare of both serving and retired personnel of the Nigerian Police Force. May I, therefore, assure the Nigerian Police of our continuous support to them in that regard.
The Minister of Police Affairs, Muhammad Maigari Dingyadi, cut the ceremonial tape to formally declare the Nigeria Police Pension House opened on behalf of the President. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now to the SARS protest. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, has ordered immediate nationwide deployment of anti-riot police unit of the police mobile force to protect the lives and property of all Nigerians, as well as secure critical national infrastructure across the country. The IGP has also ordered massive deployment of police operatives to strengthen security around correctional facilities nationwide. The orders are coming on the heels of increasing attacks, including acts of arson and malicious damage to public and private facilities, as recorded in some states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory. Consequently, the commissioners of police in the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT are to identify and isolate lawbreakers from peaceful protesters, immediately arrest and diligently prosecute such perpetrators of violence in their respective commands. The IGP notes that 12 suspects have been arrested in connection with the attacks and arson on police stations in Benin, Edo State, while 5 AK-47 rifles earlier stolen from vandalized police stations have also been recovered. Meanwhile, the Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong has announced a 24-hour curfew in Jos South and Jos North local governments beginning from 8 p.m. Tuesday, 23rd of October 2020 to curb escalation of violence associated with NSAS protests. Now, due to the new development of violent attacks on police officers, main informations, including innocent Nigerians in Lagos State, and the 24-hour curfew imposed by the state government with effect from 4 p.m. of Tuesday, 20th October 2020, the Lagos State Police Command warns that henceforth no protest or gathering or procession under whatsoever guise is permitted. A statement by the command's public relations officer, Lagos State, states, in the light of this, all security agencies have deployed adequate personnel to take charge and enforce the curfew across the state. In the same vein, the command regrets to confirm the setting ablaze of Orile Police Station at about 10 a.m. Tuesday, where some of the policemen were critically injured, and unconfirmed reports state that one of them died. The command says it is clear that the NSAS protest has been hijacked by hoodlums who want to run down the state, and the police command will resist such state of anarchy and unrest with all powers within the ambit of the law. Meanwhile, normalcy is yet to return to Benin City after Monday's violent protests. Though the city is calm, there are pockets of protesters who have mounted roadblocks with bonfires in spite of the 24-hour curfew. Agatha Egwai-Ojo has the situation reports.
Just a few vehicles and people on the streets moving freely. From the city center to the outskirts, there is no security presence. Some youths are seen at strategic junctions mounting obstacles. Markets, business districts and offices are closed in compliance to the 24-hour curfew. Also, the debris from the bonfires of Monday are visible on major and link roads in the metropolis. The Edo State government, in a statement this Tuesday, has warned residents to stay indoors as the 24-hour curfew subsists and is active till further notice. It has also set up a judicial panel of inquiry in response to the yearnings of the youths as articulated in the demands of the NSAS protesters. In Benin, Agatha Egwari-Ojo, NTA News.
Nigeria's top government officials and the diplomatic community are sharing concerns over developments in the ongoing NSAS protest, which is creating chaotic scenes in some parts of the country. At a meeting at the instance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria reiterates her worry with the way and manner the movement is being used by some persons with different motives to destabilize the country. Usman Aliu has details.
Media can equally.
It is a calm atmosphere, but the meeting here is a serious one. Nigeria wants her diplomatic partners to understand her response as a government which value freedom of expression of our citizens, particularly the youth, who are challenging police brutality in a movement which began as NSAS protest in the country.
We embrace Nigerians speaking their mind, and because we as a government are here to serve the people and to listen to the people. And our President Muhammadu Buhari, believes in that and has asked us also to believe and to implement that.
As some would say, the voice of the voiceless. And the government has respected that. It is my intention to appeal to all the youths of Nigeria, both in Nigeria and in the diaspora, to please give peace a chance.
But the concern of the government is that the agitation is transforming to violence.
Protesters are not hindered as long as they do not constitute a danger to other people. Sunday night, the central bank was taken over. It was almost set on fire. We don't see that as part of a peaceful demonstration. The attack on the governor of Osun State that went there to engage them, we don't see that as part of a peaceful organization. So we just want to assure the community that we will continue to obey the rule of law. Democracy will continue to thrive.
It's not part of freedom to break open prison, to burn police stations, to destroy public order, to block roads and cause mayhem.
The diplomatic community are also asking for more engagement with the youth to address issues of their concern. In Abuja, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
And as a result of the NSAS protest in some parts of the country, some state governments have ordered the closure of schools in their states. The affected states include Ondo, Ekiti and Lagos. The development is to ensure the safety of pupils and students. The national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, is strongly appealing to the NSAS protesters to call off the protest and give government a chance to implement their demands. In a statement, the leader said the protesters have made their points and government has made its commitment towards meeting those demands. He described as commendable the manner the protesters conducted themselves with an admirable sense of responsibility, restraint and maturity, as well as the high level of organization. The APC national leader also commended all religious leaders, Christians and Muslims, for their patriotism and high sense of responsibility at this sensitive time. Still on the protest, the Senate has called on the NSAS protesters to stop any form of street protest in order to give government opportunity to carry out their demands, as further disturbances might jeopardize the good intentions of government. The movement of urgent public importance, moved by Senator Biodun Olujimi and supported by all senators, called on President Muhammadu Buhari to address the nation on the ongoing protest and for the federal government to carry out the demands of the protesters, while the Inspector General of Police should carry out a holistic reform of the Nigerian police. Senators called on all tiers of government to put in place structures that will empower Nigerian youths, establishment of commission of inquiry into all the extrajudicial killings by the anti-robbery squad, and ensure that all those accused face the law. The legislators called on the National Boundary Commission to move in and intervene in the Ebonyi and Cross River States boundary dispute by delineating the disputed boundary, which was resulted in some deaths. They also urged the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials to troubled communities in the two states. Meanwhile, Senate observed a minute silence in honor of late literary icon John Pepper Clark, who died on the 13th of October. And the House of Representatives has passed a resolution calling on the President to issue an executive order to address some broader issues of police brutality. Following a matter of urgent public importance from Representative Sada Soli, the House also appealed to protesters to have faith in the National Assembly and the Executive as they collectively find solutions to lingering issues of police misconduct. Another committee will also be constituted by the House to engage relevant security and key agencies, as well as interest groups, to ensure a peaceful end to protests. In the meantime, House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has called for the inclusion of the demands of the Academic Staff Union of Universities as a compensation to those who suffered violence and brutality at the hands of police in the last 2 decades, and welfare for personnel of the Niger Police Force in the 2021 budget. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. Let's take a breather. More reports ahead. Just stay with us.
Demands of #NSAS movement, immediate release of all arrested protesters, justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families, setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. In line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be redeployed. Increase police salary so that they are adequately compensated for protecting the lives and property of citizens. Federal government's response. On 11th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police dissolved the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, across the 36 states police commands and the Federal Capital Territory. On October 12th, President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the nation, stating the disbanding of SARS is only the first step in our commitment to extensive police reforms. On 13th October 2020, the Inspector General of Police ordered all defunct SARS personnel to report at Force Headquarters, Abuja, for debriefing as well as psychological and medical examination. On 13th October 2020, the Presidential Panel on the Reform of SARS accepted the 5-point demand of the #EndSARS protesters. On 15th October 2020, the National Economic Council, NEC, directed the immediate establishment of state-based judicial panels of inquiry across the country to receive and investigate complaints of police brutality, related extrajudicial killings with a view to delivering justice for all victims of the dissolved SARS and other police units. State governors should immediately establish state-based special security and human rights committees to be chaired by governors in their state and to supervise the newly formed police tactical units and all other security agencies located in the state. This will ensure the protection of citizens' human rights. Members will also include representatives of youths and civil society, as well as head of police tactical units in each of the states.
Issa too like football on Top Go TV, so him forget say him be best man for him party wedding. Amaka disappoint her bobo all because of football. Kola and the family supposed come out, but then gas change plans because for this new football season, Go TV get correct football action will make sense. Get Go TV decoder, we come with 1 month Go TV Max subscription for only 9,500 naira. Go TV, live it, love it.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching the news on NTA International. 184 countries joined COVAX as COVID-19 fatalities cross 40,000 in Africa. Uche Ogochukwu brings us more on the global health crisis.
We begin on this rather worrisome review by a team of doctors for the American College of Cardiology, which reveals that some survivors of COVID-19 are likely to suffer long-term heart damage. The doctors found that COVID-19 dysregulates the way the blood clots and damages the lungs and their ability to process fresh oxygen into the blood. It says patients who had undergone ventilation and the medicated sedation that goes along with that are most vulnerable. The WHO commences a new We Are Family campaign to promote global solidarity and collaboration in the face of COVID-19.
It represents that to heal the world from this pandemic, we must come together like never before in national unity.
WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus also announced 184 countries have now joined COVAX for sharing safe and effective vaccines equitably across the world. And as COVID-19 infections continue to surge around the world, Argentina is now the 5th country to record more than 1 million confirmed cases, with nearly 13,000 cases in 24 hours. In the US, new infections are increasing rapidly, with cases trending upwards in 48 out of 50 states. On the other hand, India has recorded its lowest single-day rise in the number of confirmed cases in nearly 3 months. Meanwhile, as cases rise across Europe, some cities in the UK, France and Spain are resisting centralized efforts to impose tighter regulations. On the African continent, Nigeria reported 180 new infections on Monday, summing the country's confirmed cases to 61,558, with 56,697 recoveries. Fatalities crossed 40,000 in Africa from the 1,666,822 cases registered. Data on Worldometer coronavirus dashboard at 6 p.m. local time puts total detected cases at 40,820,945 and 1,125,466 deaths. Thanks for staying with us. I am Uche Ugochukwu.
Thank you, Chief, for the update. And out to education, the National Examination Council, NECO, has suspended ongoing examinations in Lagos and Edo states, while the exercise is ongoing across the federation. NECO Registrar Professor Godswill Obioma confirmed this in Abuja while inspecting the conduct of the examination at some centers in Abuja. The suspension on the heels of insecurity being experienced in both states, and a communication from the states which resulted in NECO's suspension of the examination.
Usually, NECO has various what you call parallel tests, the equivalent in quality, the equivalent in security, the equivalent in efficacy of the test items. So we have our NECO exam development department that develops these questions, and they are parallel questions in the event of this kind of thing occurring.
Professor Obioma assured that the council has secured examination materials, and in the event of obstruction or in any set of questions during examination, they have immediate replacements. Statistics and data are identified as tools for sustainable economic development, and getting them right is paramount to nation building. This was a submission of stakeholders at the virtual discussion as the National Bureau of Statistics takes the lead in marking this year's World Statistics Day. Moplang Dakok reports.
To a layman, statistics is just numbers and charts. But economists and developers say it is a roadmap that examines the current economic status of a nation to plan and forecast the future. This is why a day is set aside to recognize the role and importance of statistics across the world.
And one of those things we need to do and we need to get right is getting our data right. If we get our data right and we use that data, we'll get our policies, our decisions right. If we get our policies and decisions right, Nigeria will attain its rightful position in the world.
Every nation of the world needs statistics, not only Nigeria. And especially after the COVID-19, you need to know where you stand. First, you need to know how much impact the COVID-19 has caused your economy.
With Nigeria recovering from the shock of COVID-19, government's emphasis is on data collection, analysis, and dissemination to every sector of the economy. Minister of State Budget and National Planning Clem Agba says this is necessary in view of the current economic state of the nation.
As a matter of policy, government is determined to ensure the production of accurate, timely, and reliable statistical information.
Connecting the world with data we can trust is the theme for this year's celebration. In Abuja, Moplang Dakok, NTA News.
To electoral matters, the ECOWAS election observation mission in Guinea and its partners, the African Union, have both described Sunday's Guinean presidential election as largely peaceful and transparent, but not without some flaws and notable mishaps. In a press conference jointly addressed by the heads of the ECOWAS mission and the AU, the groups acknowledged the high sense of responsibility demonstrated by all stakeholders in the election. They concurred on the early opening of the polls and relatively high turnout of voters and the peaceful transition of each phase of the voting process, culminating in the collation of ballots at polling centers. The heads of the ECOWAS and AU election missions, who are both former prime ministers of the respective countries, spoke in French and gave some knocks as well as to their process. They described the high level of tension and violence during the pre-election campaigns, followed by messages to hate from the two major political parties in Guinea. The groups also frowned at the seeming unprofessionalism of staff of the electoral body, who exhibited noticeably ignorance of key voting protocols. Both ECOWAS and the AU, however, agreed that these flaws do not impact significantly on the general conduct of the election and asked Guineans to remain calm and for the parties to accept the outcome of the election. Meanwhile, the United Nations Special Representative of the Secretary General for West African and the Sahel and head of UNOAS, Mohamed bin Chambers, has lauded Guineans, ECOWAS and the AU for the peaceful and successful conduct of elections so far. Speaking in an exclusive interview with NTA, he reiterated imperatives for peaceful, transparent, conclusive elections in Africa that breed inclusiveness and engender development.
Inclusive, credible elections, because when the elections are inclusive, when they are transparent and credible, the rules have been agreed by all and they are respected, the outcome of the elections are likely to be also accepted. And when all accept the outcome of an election, then peace will prevail. And that is crucially important so that we can concentrate on the more urgent issues of sustainable development.
Next is a quick look at the weather picture. And that ends the news at this hour on NTA International. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Remember to connect with the NTA, Stand Against Rape and Rapists. I'm Elizabeth Omori. Thank you so much for your time.